Well, it's that time of year again. It's iPhone rumor season and things are kicking into high gear. Now, typically the way that I like to do this style of video is I like to wait until we have a cohesive idea of some of the features to expect, and then we just talk about everything all at once. And that's this. And this year's iPhone upgrade seems, well, honestly about the same as last year, and the year before, and the year before. So what exactly is going on with iPhones these days? Today I'm going to present to you my grand hypothesis, as well as all of the rumors that we're expecting so far for iPhone 16. So let's jump into it, right after a word from today's video sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Pulseway. Pulseway is the all-in-one IT solution to help you manage tasks easily. You can monitor your systems in real time and track performance from a user-friendly, intuitive platform. You can easily set automation workflows to auto-remediate issues like high CPU usage or when service stops on your systems. You can also automate patching and ensure your systems are updated, and you can even isolate systems affected by ransomware. Experience the power of Pulseway today and take advantage of their special savings for viewers with the link in the description down below. A big thanks to Pulseway for sponsoring, and now let's get back to it. So let's kick things off by talking about the major rumors that have come out so far about the iPhone 16 and 16 Pro and 16 Pro Max and 16 Plus. Are there too many iPhones now? Possibly. So starting out with design and screen size, we actually got leaks about this literally the same month that the iPhone 15 came out. So that's where the rumor cycle is these days, folks. But apparently this year, the iPhone is expected to receive larger displays. And as the owner of an iPhone 15 Pro Max, my first reaction to that is, how? This thing is huge. But nonetheless, Mac Rumors is reporting that the iPhone 16 and 16 Plus will maintain the same dimensions as the current iPhone 15 lineup. But for the iPhone 16 Pro and Pro Max, we are expecting an increase in display size from 6.1 to 6.3 inches on the Pro and from 6.7 to 6.9, on the Pro Max. And that larger screen should probably add a couple of grams to the weight, as well as a couple of millimeters to the width and height. Now, more recently, we've gotten some design files that purport to show exactly what the iPhone 16 Pro is going to look like, and, well, I don't blame you for thinking this looks a bit familiar. But you might notice an extra button here, and this is actually one of the more interesting rumors. Apparently, we're getting a new capture button. And this is weird because we just got an action button replacing the mute switch. So it seems like Apple is going button bananas here and they're adding another one. But honestly, it sounds pretty interesting. Let me run you through it. So this new button is rumored to be placed on the lower right side of the iPhone 16 Pro. Mac Rumors reports that the button is going to be a standard mechanical button, but with multiple levels of pressure. So you'll be able to press lightly to focus and press further to snap a picture or start recording. So imagine it like a DSLR camera. You kind of half press the button to focus and then you can click the actual button to take a photo. But 9to5Mac is reporting even more features for this button, such as being able to zoom in and out by swiping. This comes from a report from The Information, which has had a pretty decent track record in the past, and they say that you'll be able to respond to touch and pressure, allowing users to zoom in by swiping left and right on it. I could see this being useful for one-handed photography. Imagine pulling out your phone like this, and you can navigate the whole camera system, zooming in and out, focusing and recording just like this without having to touch the screen. And as interesting as that report is, they also seem to be backing up those design files we talked about by saying that there are no planned cosmetic changes that would distinguish the iPhone 16 from the previous model. Although more recently, we have had some rumors about the camera orientation on the iPhone 16, specifically that Apple's planning on going back to this vertical design. That would be similar to what was on the iPhone 11 and 12 before Apple moved to that kind of diagonal design. We've seen a couple of leaked images about how Apple could do that, including some speculating that they'll go back to the iPhone XS design. And personally, I'm not 100% sold on that. I think that this camera design really worked well on the iPhone X, but with the flash being off to the side out of the camera bump, not sure it's as successful this time around. There's also rumors that 5G will be getting some upgrades from Qualcomm's latest Snapdragon X75 modem. And to me, the big takeaway here is that it's faster while also using less power. I'm really hoping that this year we're gonna see some serious improvement to battery life, although frankly, there hasn't been any rumors about it. I'm hoping that the larger display size and therefore larger form factor of the 16 Pro and Pro Max will allow a tiny little bit more battery to fit in there, maybe. So overall, when you take all of these leaks and put them into a cohesive picture, what we're looking at is a phone that looks very similar to what we have now, that gets a different camera layout with some upgraded cameras on the 16 and 16 Plus. We get slightly larger screens on the Pro and Pro Max, as well as presumably upgraded cameras and faster internals from an A18 chip, and the new capture button giving us more control in photography. Now, all of those sound like perfectly decent upgrades to me. I don't really have an issue with any of them, but what you might be thinking at this point is, what's up with this? Why are we time and time again getting these interesting but not really major upgrades? Do you remember back in the day when Apple used to do a completely new design every other year? It was like a completely different phone going from the iPhone 5 to the 6. But ever since the iPhone 12, Apple seems to have shifted their strategy somewhat. Rather than having a new design one year, a tweak the next year, and a new design the year after that, they seem to just be slowly evolving the design, introducing features gradually each year. The iPhone 12 Pro got a new design, the 13 Pro got ProMotion, the 14 Pro got the dynamic island, and now the 15 Pro gets that new titanium enclosure. But in my opinion, none of those devices count as a redesign. They're all just tweaks. And it's easy to point at a lack of innovation as the cause for that, but I think there's more to it, because if you go back to the early days of the iPhone, most of those were contract subsidized, meaning you would buy them and you were locked into a 2-year contract with your carrier. You didn't pay the full price of the phone because it was built into your monthly plan. And that meant that back in the day, there were redesign folks and there were S folks. Some people like to wait until they worked out the kinks and refined the device, and then they would buy a 4S and then a 5S. But other people liked to be on the cutting edge with the newest design, and they would buy the 4 and the 5, etc. But since carrier contracts are kind of a thing of the past, it kind of opens the door for people to A, upgrade their phone every year, which is a new opportunity, and B, to keep their phones for longer. Because now iPhones last longer, and you're paying the full price up front in many cases, which means, if you spend $1,000 on a phone, you're probably going to want to keep that for more than 2 years. So we've shifted from a landscape where most people kept a phone for 2 years to now some people keep a phone for 1 year, some people keep a phone for 5 years, which means that nowadays when a new iPhone comes out, it's not necessarily saying, okay, hey, if you had the old design, it's time to upgrade, 2 years are up, let's go. You're kind of saying, hey, if you've been waiting for ProMotion for a while, here it is. If you've been wanting something other than the notch, here it is. If you like your iPhone 12 but you want more camera features, now we've got ProRAW and a 48 megapixel sensor, etc. All of those things aren't designed to make you upgrade every other year because a new design comes out. It's finding these specific features where someone with a 3 or a 4 or a 5-year-old iPhone might say, okay, that sounds like something that I want. I'm going to upgrade. And personally, I find this strategy kind of mixed because obviously I upgrade my phone every year because I review them. But as someone who is just interested in tech, I like that every year we're getting a key feature, something that stands out and that we all go, oh, wow, that's really cool. But I also kind of miss the old days where you would have this grand reveal of a new design and all the leaks would be like, oh my gosh, is it going to look like this? Is it going to look like this? But you know what? Times change and it can't stay the same forever. I'm very curious to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Are you excited for the iPhone 16? Do you think this is going to be a complete dud? Let me know in the comments below. And of course, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.